Hello, this is Carolyn again, and I am back because I realized I do try to address the very few and far between people that ask me a question. And so far, you guys are not quite as interested in living off the grid and finding out how to survive in that arena, I think. I, the people that are contacting me are kind of a little more interested in other stuff, but that's okay because I will completely talk to you about anything that I might have seemed to learn along the way, intentionally or unintentionally. But I had confessed out loud. I said the quiet part out loud. I was on the list of Craig in the beginning of this week or possibly last week. It all kind of runs together. And I found a position, work from home, as a phone actress. And we all know what that means. You're not going to be doing voiceovers to become famous somewhere. You're going to be talking to somebody who has a deep and dark fantasy. And well, see, I'm up in the middle of the night anyway. I know this is not what I went to school for or anything that, I want to write home about, but who am I going to write to? Do you want me to get a Ouija board out and tell my mom and dad? Well, my mom, for one, would not be surprised, and she probably wouldn't care one way or the other. My father would go, "Oh, no, how are you going to get up here in heaven with me when you're acting like that?" Well, it's kind of like this. I know what I'm in for. I have done this before. Uh, I'm going to be awake in the middle of the night anyway. And I play a game where I think cancel, 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 cancel. If it's something that's let it sit right out here. I do that a lot of time with the unfortunate time where I have to watch the news and hear all that. Have you saved for the future? If you are not taking this supplement, or going to your doctor for your 10,000 booster in your ass, you run the chances of that. Gives me way more anxiety than some person with a odd fantasy calling me at 3 a.m. for real. There's one thing I can handle more than the other, and yeah, sorry. And I would not recommend this position. A few things, and I will honestly tell you exactly everything that I learned. One thing, you do have to have a strong sense of what bothers you and what does not. You got to be a bit carefree, because if a person, and it's usually a man, but every once in a while a woman, if a person is willing to pay their hard-earned money to call you up to confess something that's in their deep, dark psyche, it's going to be something a little more than they gazed up the skirt of a mannequin in Forever 21 and like what they saw. It could be that. It could be, but it probably is going to be something that you're ill-equipped to hear about unless you're pretty tough to begin with. But it's okay. Are they going to promise you good potential? But in a way, if you get good at it, or good or tolerant or creative or imaginative, you can make $30, $40 an hour. It used to be. And that was several years ago. And if you're going to be awake anyway, you don't have to get dressed up for this. You do not have to be photogenic. Most of the time, you're pretending to be somebody that you are not. So I guess I'm selling it. Or I'm selling it, but not exactly for everybody. But I did look into the company, and it is a shell company, which it looks like it was originally other things, including gummies for keto workouts and things. Well, they're probably doing it that way because they don't want one business to bleed over into the other, because they're not exactly compatible. And honestly, if you were going to start a adult chat line, do you want yourself readily to be easily found? Now, if they're just doing it for self-preservation, I understand. If they're scammers, then that's a whole nother ball of wax. I will tell you everything I found out. And even if I get on there and it takes me a week or two to figure it out, hey, I'm awake anyway. And I will convey to you whatever I learn. So far, only one person has asked about, but it figures. Like I said, nobody asked me about the solar generators or tiny houses that I'm selling, or maybe it's self-explanatory. You don't need to ask me any questions. They tend to go for things like I have mentioned in passing, like hacker tools that can open people's garages, or my experience with working as adult actress. And I have so limited experience. I did it many years ago, and I did not even quit on a good note because somebody told me something that I found so devastating. If it's anything involving children, I'm sorry. Pay, no pay, I'm probably going to hang up and just, I won't be insulting, but I will slam the phone out, and done is done, right? You know, but that is not legal, and I'm sure they would not. They will tell you they don't want you to discuss anything that is legal. But in working in the past, they told me, even one gentleman from England, and I can still hear his voice even though I cannot remember his name, told me to stay on the phone regardless, no matter if it is something bad. Do not hang up first or you're fired. I don't think that still pertains. I think if they're saying something so suspect, you do not want to make yourself or the company guilty by continuing the conversation. I think that guy just didn't know that if it is an illegal topic, you're better just to hang up the phone. But that's coming from me, and you know what? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are as today's world, but I hope this helps you. And I get nothing from giving you a review that way. It's just I don't ever want anybody to stumble into something that is totally so incompatible with who they are as a person. I will always encourage you to embrace spirituality first, but I know you got bills to pay, so sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. All right, on that note, have yourself a wonderful weekend.